On this Memorial Day, we're taking a look at a part of the military that many civilians don't know about. It's called Stars and Stripes, and it's been operating as the hometown newspaper for the U.S. military for a century. A new documentary dives deep into the paper's illustrious history and the lengths taken to deliver it along the world's most dangerous paper route.
Stripes paper route is all over the Middle East. Kuwait, Iraq, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. It also stretches into North Africa. I mean, Djibouti, we deliver papers every day as well.
But Afghanistan presents its own set of problems. How to get this hometown paper to the battlefield.
The challenge is that they're printed in Bahrain, and we have to have them shipped over from Bahrain to Bagram. They're moved through 3 different services in order to get onto the planes that fly over from Bahrain to here. And then they're trucked out to the delivery points on the base. Here in Afghanistan, where the internet is very bad, or Kuwait, the internet is bad, their first thing in the morning with their cup of coffee is the Stars and Stripes. They're picking the paper up.
And joining me is the executive producer of the world's most dangerous paper route, Stephen Barber. Stephen, thank you so much for being with us. What a fascinating documentary. Now, you call your film the world's most dangerous paper route. So describe some of the challenges of delivering Stars and Stripes.
Well, thank you, Paula. It's mind-boggling what these young men and women are doing for Stars and Stripes and the young men and women in the military. The challenges are, it's downrange. So this newspaper goes to all of the troops downrange, obviously the colloquialism, to in harm's way. So everybody who's in battle gets this. The challenges are, we've got troops all over the world, and we have a lot of troops in harm's way. So taking these papers out to a forward operating base, my director, Matthew Housley, and I got to go. For us, it was pretty neat. We got to go out on Chinooks. We got to go out on Blackhawks. But, you know, sometimes you have to go 120, 140 miles out to a forward operating base just to deliver these papers. But the troops, it means so much to them to get a little slice of America. It's really fantastic.
That is fantastic. So tell us more about the people you met in the course of making this film, the people who risked their lives to deliver the Stars and Stripes.
Well, none of this would have happened if it wasn't for Max Lederer. Max really saw the vision. He is the publisher of Stars and Stripes. You know, some of your viewers may have seen the movie Full Metal Jacket. Matthew Modine plays a fictional Stars and Stripes reporter, but it's a real newspaper. It's been around for 150 years, and what it does and what it signifies, it never ends. I mean, Senator Graham just gave a lot of money for appropriations to keep the paper going, and it means so much to the troops because all I can say is if it wasn't for the men and women of the United States military, the world would be thrust into darkness. I mean, it is incredible what these kids are doing out there. And when I say kids, I'm talking 21, 22, 25 years old. And for Stars and Stripes to take the time to go around the world and hand deliver these papers on a daily basis, I mean, I can't say enough about it. And, you know, 17 journalists have died in the last several decades. There were 4 drivers murdered by the Taliban, local, you know, people working for Stars and Stripes. So it's when the world, the most dangerous paper, when the title came up, the world's most dangerous paper route, it really is, you know, people die delivering this paper. So I don't know anywhere else in the world that happens.
All right, I'd like to play another clip from your film, and this one is an interview with your narrator, 60 Minutes correspondent Steve Croft.
Oh, yes.
That's me, Steve Croft. In 1968, I was drafted into the United States Army. I spent 10 months with the 25th Infantry Division before it was redeployed. And then I had a choice between going to Armed Forces Network or to Stars and Stripes, and I picked Stars and Stripes primarily because it was an independent newspaper in Saigon. Everybody read it. Everybody. It was a good newspaper.
That really speaks to the reputation it has among service members.
I mean, what a beautiful guy. I mean, your own, you know, CBS's own Steve Croft, who just, you know, coincidentally, you know, retired last week. But this is one of the last, this was kind of his swan song, one of the last things he did. And when we were doing due diligence, when I started to do some research on some of the big people, Andy Rooney, you know, Steve Croft's name came up. And what was serendipitous about this, quite divine actually, is that Steve started at Stars and Stripes, you know, 50 years ago in Da Nang as a cub reporter, you know, jumping on Hueys and going out into, you know, into the war. And then he kind of ended. It came full circle. He couldn't have been kinder. He couldn't, I mean, he really, and to him, it meant so much for us because we just wanted to interview him. And then as we got into Afghanistan, as we got downrange, when we were on Bagram, my director, Matthew Housley, and I called my producing partner, Tamara Henry, along with Bart White. It was a real collaborative. I said, wouldn't it be great to have Steve narrate this? And at first people weren't sure, but then it wrapped around just beautifully. And he's a guy that really, really cares, and he made this movie what it is. I can't thank him enough.
Oh, well, he's got that great voice, too. Now, one thing that was interesting to me is Stars and Stripes employees, while they're employees of the Department of Defense, they don't follow the same command structure as other members of the military. Why is that?
Well, that's interesting because of the First Amendment. And basically, Steve was like, he was telling us, I was 22 years old and I was jumping on Hueys, in Da Nang in '71 in front of generals, and we didn't have to salute them. And he was kind of happy about that. It's just because of the First Amendment. Stars and Stripes really has that, even though it's run by the United States government, command cannot call them up and say, hey, I don't like this story. I mean, they do that, but, Stars and Stripes will not change a word. So that's what's really unique about this paper is the First Amendment, even though it's run by DOD, the Defense Department. And, when you get out there, and I said, once again, for my director and I to go to Germany and then go to Kuwait and then jump on a plane and go to, over to Afghanistan and then get on the helicopters and meet all these young people. I don't want America to forget we have thousands of troops downrange in harm's way, thousands. And when that paper gets to them, I just can't even explain, how amazing it is for them that somebody cares. I mean, it means a lot.
Well, Stephen Barber, thank you so much. The World's Most Dangerous Paper Route is available now on DVD and on demand.